It's time for another helping of haggis. If you like it, if you want to subscribe, all these things, they help. If you don't like it and you can't turn it off, if you want to contact me, Church House Classics, it's all one word, at gmail.com. And if you fancy supporting the channel or buying me a pint, because I've helped you, amused you, then there's a PayPal me link scrolling along the bottom here. Anyway, enjoy the video. It's a good one. It's fun. I like it. It's my job, this. Not making these videos. My job is fixing these cars. Even I may cock up sometimes. It's a good one, this one. It's very, very funny. So, I had the wife up here on Saturday to help me bleed through the brakes because I'm falling out of love with the system, the easy bleed, the single chap bleed, brake bleed system, because it just fucking sends brake fluid everywhere. So I decided to give up on that, and I basically got my wife installed in the car, and I went round and did it the traditional way, and got the brakes absolutely perfect first time round, which is fantastic. Then thought, well, I'll give the clutch a go as well. So she's in the car, and I'm down here. If I lift the bonnet up, you can actually see. But basically, my trick for bleeding the clutch is, first of all, support the bonnet so it doesn't collapse on my head. Come on, bastard. Is to work from above, have a long hose that comes up from the bleed nipple on the clutch slave, up and into a pot up here. So basically, the end of the pipe, or the hook of the pipe, is below the master cylinder, but it is above, way above the top of the slave. That way, all of the air will travel directly upwards, because the bleed nipple's not directly upwards on the bloody slave. They're always a bastard to bleed. So all this is going through, and the fluid's not really pumping through, and I'm thinking, well, what on earth is going on here? Have I got a problem with the new master? Has the old slave decided to pack up because it was working before? So, as part of my final prep before we do a big startup on this, I was just going around, I was looking around inside the car yesterday, and I was trying to work this out. I'll bring Lampy with me. And can you guess yet what the problem is? Well, you should be able to guess. I've not actually connected the fucking master cylinder up to the clutch pedal. So my missus is basically doing this. Yesterday, on Saturday. Anyway, it has bled through, but it might need just a quick pump through just in order to get it done. So I need to connect that up, and then we can do the big startup. One thing I did find out, by the way, this handle here, I'm pretty sure this is exactly the same as the four-door 1980s handle on the door, because these are particularly tired and challenged. So I'm going to get these sorted out. I've got the mirrors, they're over there. Steering wheel's off because obviously I need to get into the footwell. And then we can actually get this thing started up, which will be really, really bloody good. Looking forward to it. And we can actually start working. Oh, doesn't that shut nicely? We can start working on getting an MOT sorted out, and getting it cleaned. Oh, God, grief. Right, so I'm going to get on with that. I don't need to show you how I'm going to put a push rod onto the back of a pedal, but I thought I'd let you know. Cock-ups occur sometimes. The other thing that I've forgotten to do is I forgot to do the headlights. Now what I'm basically going to do is I am behind the top edge on both sides of this. I'm going to put a piece of material that's not going to degrade or work its way out, so it holds the headlamp solid inside the actual bowl. That one's not too bad. This one is quite wobbly. I don't know if there was a gasket underneath here originally, or whether the headlight units are wrong and mismatched to the outer rims, but I'll cover that off shortly. The cooling system is now fully topped up. I've let it find its own level overnight, and it has. That's all done. Oil's been changed. 7 litres this thing takes. 7 litres. That's a lot of oil. I suppose it works quite hard. I haven't done the headlight washers yet. That's the headlight washer pipe. That's where the headlight washer needs to go. And on this side, it looks like a mess. Sorry, folks. I've just been going around just tidying things up. I've started to put the centre console in, as you can see here. Yeah, we are moving in the right direction. It's moving in the right direction. It is. I'm convincing myself. I still need to paint the back of this seat here. That all needs to come off and I need to paint it because it just looks horrible. But I'll go through that. That one closes nicely too. Very clean and straight, this car. Nice. That, because the pegs were wrong on it, I thought, well, I'd use the sticky back plastic on it to stick it on. Didn't work. I want to use something a bit more permanent than that. And again, similarly, this one I think is just going to come off. It's just like a double-sided tape that came with it. Perhaps I'll get some carpet tape. I don't want to glue them on really. Change the bulb from the back anyway. But it looks nice on its wheels now. These go this side, it's brighter. These are the 235 profile tyres. Michelin, what am I talking about? Goodyear Wranglers, and these are the all-weather tyres. I think they used to be called all-terrain, but they're called all-weather now. But it's actually listed as a mud and snow tyre, which is great. It's not the full off-road, chunky, knobbly stuff. It's got quite a nice tread pattern to it as well. Doesn't look out of date really with the car. So I like all of those. Yes, nice one, Haggis. Right, we're going to get you going. Right, just going to crank it over and see if we can get oil pressure out of it. Started, which is odd because it's got no bloody glow plugs or anything. Because we've got oil pressure, which is good. I'm now going to connect up the fuel pump and we'll prime the fuel system. It's always good when you start a diesel up. Good lord. Right, okay. So, fucking hell. Right, so the fuel pump is down here. Need to reconnect that. Prime system. I have to get the doors open as well. I do is just double check the clutch works first of all. Because then if the door's open, I can drive it straight out, can't I? Hey. Now, all of this boot area has been stripped out because I want to paint this boot floor. Which at the moment, it's in a state where it's salvageable, unlike mine, which is just absolutely fucking ruined. There's a fog. There's a great fog coming amongst us. It's probably not that good on my lungs, really, is it? Right. Well, this is an interesting one. Whoever said that working on old cars was easy? Not me. I learned something new today though. So basically, fuel pump. Seeing the engine start, trying to bleed through the fuel, I'm getting absolutely nothing. Down here, excuse me, coughy cough. Let me just position the lamp. Fucking stay there, lamp, you bastard. Down here, we've got the fuel lift pump, but it's not connected to anything. It's just got the banjos in it, doing nothing, absolutely nothing at all. The fuel line comes up the chassis straight to the filter. From the filter goes straight into the pump. So I'm thinking, right, that's odd. Maybe because this is an HA suffix, and HA suffix was when they bought the high-level fuel filler in, which correspondingly matched the plastic fuel tank, that perhaps we have got a submersible fuel pump in the boot. Yeah, that'll be it. There'll be a fuel pump at the back here. So, no voltage to this connector. So then I had the old loom out on the floor. Worked out that I needed fuse C4, no power to fuse C4. However, there's connectivity between the the fused side of C4 and the pumps. I think, great, okay, all I need to do is sort out the feeds for fuse C4. Rummaging around, fucking hours and hours and hours of rummaging around. And eventually, I find it, bearing in mind the loom has changed on this thing, on the right-hand side, there it is. And there you will find the white and purple wire that goes to fuse C4, connected to nothing. That's the connector that goes down to the EFI loom, which would normally sit underneath the driver's seat. And it would normally have then the fuel pump relay, blah, 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 etc. Okay, so that makes sense. So I bridged the wires. Don't know how it was working before, couldn't work it out from the old loom. Bridged the wire, white to the fuel pump relay, put it back up here. Connected it, still no priming. What the fuck? So I lifted the pump out. It ain't a pump, it's a pickup on these diesels. Like the 200 TDI, like the 300 TDI, it's just a pickup. It doesn't do anything else. So basically it looks like a pump, but when you look inside the white canister at the bottom, there's no pump in it. So now I'm thinking, well, where the fuck is the pump? I've been right the way along the chassis. I have traced the fuel line from the pickup all the way down the chassis line, all the way to the front here. This thing is running without a pump. What the actual? I'm sure this thing really did not go. I've driven it. I know it drives. But I've not driven it at any speed. So today's job now is to get the lift pump off the side of the block. It's only they're normally held on with 2 bolts, but there'll be a little bit of oil dribble, I think. It's not run for a while, so we'll just let the oil drip down into a can underneath. But I need to get the lift pump off and find out why it's been disabled, why it's taken out the loop, and then I'm going to need to put it back into the loop. I want the lift pump. I need a lift pump. God, I love Portuguese mechanics. But otherwise, this thing was ready to kind of drive out of the workshop. I've got more jobs I need to do on it to complete it, but it's 99% of the way there now. And as you can see, well, it's kind of piled up again now, but I was trying to get it ready, really, to actually manoeuvre it out and get it out of the workshop. I even put Bob right the way over there, you see, on his skates. How weird is that? Anyway, oil pressure's good, so that's good news. We got an oil feed up to the turbo, which is good news. Weird. Just weird. Out. Filter's out. Pump is out. Now, first things first, and I'm quite pleased to report that the diaphragm actually looks to be in really good order. I did try and operate the pump, and there was no suction at all on the fuel pump inlet. However, hold it all down and the lever works, so you can see the diaphragm going up and down. When I was blowing and sucking on the inlet, I could blow through it, but I really was struggling to get it to work the other way around. So then I thought, well, I'm going to take it all apart, because I've got nothing to lose here, because that's the little non-return valve there. They're kind of little, tiny little poppet things. I mean, there's nothing to them, really. And then, sort of like, you find a filter underneath. Fuck's sake. Someone's obviously... And the other thing is, when I took this thing apart, every single screw and fitting was loose on this. So someone's been here before and decided that, you know, the filter was all bunged up. Bearing in mind that the pump, I think, sits before the fuel filter. I'll have to double check the routing. So I think the pump sits before the fuel filter, and so it's got its own little filter in the system. And I mean, that's impressive. That really is kind of some gank on there. It's more or less completely bunged with what looks like sand, to be quite honest. Now, I think that someone has actually been in this far as well, because the plastic's all broken on the sides. So I think someone has been in here, and rather than doing this, because this appears to be quite effective so far, They've just put it all back together again and thought, ah, sod it, do you know what, we'll bypass the pump. So I've gone from a situation of panicking because all of the parts of this pump are on obtainium, but you just need to be creative when it comes to looking elsewhere. So for instance, I know that they use the VM engine on a number of motor cars, but mainly in the marine industry these VM engines are used. And so I thought, well, okay, so I found a number of suppliers out there that will provide various different... The pump is a BCD, by the way, it's not an AC as I was expecting. It's a BCD pump. But you know, you Google BCD pumps and you find an awful lot of pumps that look very much like this. Yeah. So you think, okay, well, that's got to be worth a punt, isn't it? Obviously we don't know what their throughput is, their flow is, but it's going to be better than fuck all, which is what is created when you disconnect the pump completely. Oh, I can see through that now. And then that can go back on there, click, and then this can go back on here. Now let's just check the diaphragm first of all is engaged onto the pump body, because if I get the diaphragm off, it's got a fork on the end of it. You need to make sure the fork is engaged into the arm. I think that was the one I preferred. And then we'll pop the pump back on the top. I think like that, that's how it went. I mean, pretty much go any orientation you want it to go to. Oh, we won't forget the spring. The spring needs to go underneath the diaphragm, Richard. Spring, Springy McSpringface. Let's pop that back on there like that, hold it down, just double check. Got everything lined up. Well, it seems to be working. And then what we'll do is we'll pop the screws back in, and all these screws are loose, by the way, which is kind of why I think that someone had been there before me. I've ordered up the banjos because I haven't got any fuel line or banjos to connect this thing up. So I've ordered those. They'll be here probably by the weekend. It's Wednesday today. They want to be here. There we go. Don't do them all up tight until they're all in. Standard rule number 1. You'll find that the bloody diaphragm will be nipped up underneath one of them. If this don't work, what I'll do is I will consult with one of the JCB type suppliers. There's plenty out there, because those chaps are used to dealing with these kind of lift pumps, and I would imagine a BCD lift pump is going to be pretty much a BCD lift pump. There you go, there's famous last words for you. I can go in there. We'll nip the bastards up so we get a nice, just work diagonally around it. Just pulls the thing down even. If we get the lift pump back working, then I can prime the system and get back to stage 1. Just a shame I wasted fucking hours thinking that there was an electric fuel pump in the boot, eh? And you know, I don't know about VM diesels. It's not time I can build a customer for, that's for sure. So there you go, you can have this information for free. If you've got a VM diesel and you're wondering why there is no fuel delivery, I've saved you a couple of hours on trying to diagnose the fuel supply. That covered in diesel now. Diesel do. Right, now, inlet, It's doing nothing. That is doing nothing. I get the very, very, very faintest pull on the inlet. Right, fuel pumps fitted, came from Darwin Diesels. It's a pump that's listed as suitable for a VM engine Range Rover, and its part number is 26D3013. 26D3013 lift pump Rover VM, and it came in just over 60 quid delivered. That's not bad, is it? Right, now let's see if we can bleed the system now that we've got a lift pump on the system. Right, I've got no glow plug circuit. Why have I got no glow plug circuit? That's weird. I did have a glow plug circuit. Let's try it again. Yes, we have. Slightly. Right. Dieselgate part, I don't know what. Anyway, got a fuel leak somewhere. So this morning, what I've basically done is I undid this, and it's got air at the top of it, and I undid that, and it's got air at the top of it. So then I undid it down here onto the pump, when the pump is there, and there was barely any fuel at all in this little link pipe here. So I thought, well, maybe it's the feed line. So I did the feed line to the pump, and there's air in that as well. So I think it's actually the chassis line that's causing me a problem here. I don't think it's anything else. Now, one of the things that I did have to do here, see that little join on there where I joined the pipe? I'm not convinced it's tight. And you can also see there's diesel on the chassis rail down there, which I didn't notice yesterday. Now, it could well have been that that's come from the bleed process. It could well have been that that has all dribbled out overnight. So I'm going to remake that connection. And I think that is the root cause of my problems here. The other thing that I noticed is that this viscous fan, it feels all right now, but I mean that's spinning more than I would expect it to. It's got a loose spot in it, and these things are not gifted with good cooling at the best of times. So I'm going to change the viscous fan. Well, I'm not going to change the fan, I'm just going to change the viscous control unit. I've got one here, luckily for it, so I'll get that done as well. But I think we got to the bottom of the kind of, oh, pardon me, put my teeth in, of the airlock in the system. Clutch works, got that bled yesterday with Mrs. H, yeah, that's all sorted out now. The only other thing I was going to do was I was going to disconnect this super cold mechanism here. There's just a nut on the end here. General feedback is that it's not actually bloody needed, and it's just got this stupid little pulley thing on there. If I just disconnect that, it's going to stop pulling this lever. I don't know what it does. I don't like it. But let's get the the diesel fuel feed system sorted out first of all, and then we can move on from that point. Right, let's see if we've cured this this fuel leak. So I put the new banjo on the new fuel line that goes to the tank. So it was the chassis line connector that was leaking. Nippy today. Just don't feel that nippy. Anyway, I'm not smoking. I'm not on fire. This is just condensation. Anyway, I'm going to see if it starts up. So first of all, going to loosen the bleed nipple. It's going to make a bit of a mess, but I can clear that up. Nowhere in that, it just had, because the filter was full already, you see. Right, let's get it out of here. I want to let it warm up a little bit now. I need to change the viscous fan on it anyway. But yeah, come and have a look. Turn the mic around. 1 second. Boys are making a lot of noise again, but I can't help that. They need to work, I need to work. Out in the open air. Let's glue that on. Needs a bloody good wash. The car wash is opened up again. Shall I take it up to the car wash? I quite like this colour. Still need to sort this out. I'm going to see if Steve can dust this in or do something with this. It might just, a bit of T-cut's going to help it, to be honest. Right, I know what I'm doing today now. Bob, you're going to go over there, mate. Once I swept the floor, Bob's going to go there, then I can easily get Haggis in and out of this side, you see. But, yeah, it's a bit of a mess. Well, it's been there a while, hasn't it? No, I'm pleased. Just simple air leak on the chassis line that caused all those problems. It's getting cleaned. Good work, Haggis. Got the interior out the back end of the car. The only real rust I've got, okay, there's surface rust around and about, which I'm just going over with here. These boys couldn't be making more noise today, I tell you. Most of the areas that I'm looking at here, it's just surface rust, really. It's not an issue. I'll have to voice this over. Fuck it. We'll do it later on. This piece along here needs replacing. So what I'm going to do is cut it there, leave that piece in place because that's all right, and just replace this straight edge lip along here. Let's do that. I've got videos of me now. It's got quiet. Right, okay, so as you can see, all the boot's been stripped out. I've filled it all back up with crap again because I've been assembling the front end of the car. Really the key objective here is around getting the interior back together again. Obviously got the passenger side there looking a bit better than it has been. Carpet's in. I haven't got the pegs on the floor anymore which hold the carpet down. Carpet's not going anywhere. Once this trim has been screwed down properly, I need to get the pegs for it. Replace the door handles. So these two door handles are exactly the same as the front door, 4-door handles of the era. The only thing I haven't got is the inlay. I have to work on that. The heater controls are all in place. Obviously the centre section isn't because I haven't got the pipes that feed the hot air to the back of the car. Glonk. Rear seat. It's had some smokers in it, and there's another big one up here. Or maybe the smoker's been sitting in the front of the car, flicked his cigarette out the window and it's come back in the back window. These things happen. Done it myself. Not in a Range Rover, but I did it in my Cavalier once. I was going out the motorway having a cigarette in my company car and flicked a cigarette out the window and it came straight back in. You couldn't make this shit up, could you? Right, that can go on the scrap pile. I don't know what I'm carrying it around for. I kept it to show you. Right, I got all the parts to make up the seat base trim here, and that can all go in. As you see, I bought the underlay for the back, underlay E-bar for the back here, but I haven't got it. Haven't finished painting on the other side. These seat covers do look nice there, don't they? That's not a burn. That's just they want a damn good valet. That was an oil patch when they first came. These are going to come up beautifully. They look really nice. I'm well impressed with those there. So that VM 4-door that Tim Hammond broke, much of it lives on either in this car or in that one. It's odd, isn't it? How much odder can we get? So now that's movable. That's much easier for me to work with now because I can reverse that in and out of the workshop much more easily. And this is going to take a significant step forwards.